Hello and welcome to SML The Sit Down. We have a superstar on the show, the man, the myth, the legend, QP. How are you doing, man?
I'm fired up, man. After everything that we've been both reading in the chat, it's just a couple things I got to get off my chest.
Dude, we're going to talk about that. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Real quick, though, I don't know, you seen it in chat last night. SML Meetup 2026 in Chicago, July 17th. Are you going?
I'm going. I actually submitted my application, put in all the information, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm childless on that weekend, and looking forward to an Airbnb with the SML guys. That'll be a really good time.
I was just looking at options. I think that's going to be a really, really good time. Obviously, you've been to two other meetups, one in Nashville, one in Myrtle Beach. Myrtle wasn't as cool as Nashville, but they're a heck of a time, aren't they?
They are. In my opinion, that's what it's all about. Obviously, we're always in the chat, having a good time, chatting it up, whether we're talking crap or all being buddy buddy. But at the end of the day, it's about the camaraderie of the league, and I think that's why it's been going so long. So, in my opinion, my favorite time of the SML, you kind of get to know the guys behind the keyboards, behind the names, and everybody's just always been a good guy. Everybody, has their own personas and personalities, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun time. Obviously, you were in the SML, you took some time off, now you're back. I want to talk a little bit about your first stint in the SML first, because I think there's a lot of guys. And by the way, that watch you just flashed, I don't know if that was on purpose. That looked expensive.
There's a lot to go over today. We will.
We'll talk about that in a second. So your first stint in the SML, you were kind of this showman. Me and you went head to head. We had I don't watch wrestling. I think you said it was the Attitude Era of the SML. Looking back on that era, for me, it was fun. I look back on it fondly. I don't think it could be sustained for a long period of time, but what do you think? Just reflecting on that time, we had some good members in the league. Any thoughts on that era that some of these new gen players don't know about?
I think to echo your statement that it was not sustainable, I think there was a lot of times where it got a little dark or a little bit ugly in the chat, and sometimes people would cross the line, including myself. So what I'll say about the I feel like it was at its highest peak of the SML. I feel like the drama for the storylines, I feel like the content for the SML, I feel like everything that culminated in that 2 or 3 Madden cycle stretch, maybe 4. I feel like that kind of defined the SML. And in my opinion, nowadays, truly being, completely honest, nowadays it's much actually better. I enjoy coming into the chat despite, some of the topics we're going to hit on soon. It's a funner time for me, in my opinion. It's everybody's happy go lucky nowadays. Not like the way we used to come up. The way we used to come up is a knife in the back every other guy. You're talking to a guy, next thing you're doing, he's stabbing you in the back to get over, get one up on you. It was a good time
Each,
when I'll reflect on
I
it.
will say, I think it's more enjoyable for me and like less stress, even though it's a Madden league, it shouldn't be
Yeah,
stressful. But I do think the
same.
one thing that that era had over this era, it felt like the games were like heavier. Like everything was like
Yeah,
tick for tat. And if you lost a regular
yep,
season game, then your name was going to be trounced. And
yeah,
there was like four
yeah,
shows and you were going to be
yeah.
roasted. And if you took a
Mhm.
team, you were going to be roasted. And this is a lot more sustainable, family friendly. And for me at my age, I think that's what I want at this point in time.
I agree, and yeah, everything you said is
Um,
I echo that statement.
so competition.
Yeah.
This some people say this era. Some say your era when you won all your Sambardis is the plumber era. What's your thoughts on the competition now versus then?
I think now it's deeper than it's ever been. I think it's top to bottom a lot deeper. I think that the 30-second guy, not maybe the 30th guy, but the 30-second guy, because Vince did beat me. We'll say the 30-second guy can beat anybody in the SML. Whereas maybe it was the same way in the past, and maybe it's recency bias. But back in the day, it felt a lot more top heavy. It felt like, we used to have actually a thing. We used to have a term called the Big Five,
Yeah.
which was yourself, Faz, myself, Dan, and Bomber.
Yep.
And then there was a period in time where actually it became the Big Four because Bomber took a step back
Uh-huh.
in his playoff
I forgot
success
about
and he
that.
lost to a few guys. and it was the big four all of a sudden, or the four horsemen, or some BS name. So
Yeah.
that kind of speaks to the competitive nature of the league back then. If we had a term for, who's basically the top dogs, and nobody's really touching those guys, whereas to now, again, it's Damon might miss the playoffs, and he's one of the better SML players in out here. And same thing if you look on the other side, Tug. Tug has been to a few AFC Championship games, and he's on the verge of missing the playoffs. So it's just deeper now.
Um, do we have a big five now?
No,
We have a big what? What do you think? Big three like LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, or what do we got?
I wouldn't even like to call it that. You can't call. And I love Dan. Dan's my mentor. Dan, I owe you everything, my good sir.
Oh,
But Dan doesn't have a Simbardi. You can't have a big three without a champion. Like we again, when we were the big five, all five of us were champions, I want to say.
yeah.
Or at least we had gotten one under our belt at that point. And so no, I don't think there's a big three. I think that there's prime and then there is a significant gap from there. But yeah, then you have the bombers, the Dans, and I don't know from there. You break it down however you want.
Um, I want to talk about that Dan thing a little bit. You and Dan obviously have this relationship, and you come from the Mamba cloth, the Kobe's of the world. They don't join forces with the guys that they're gonna lose to. And here you are, you're in chat, you're Dan this, Dan that, Dan's a genius, and it kind of makes me sick a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So why align yourself with somebody who's gonna use that stuff against you when it matters?
So this is the thing, yeah, there is such thing as a Mamba mentality, but guess what? No cameras around, nobody filming, 4 a.m. Kobe was getting after it with some other guys. They were in there working out together. Yeah, sometimes a lot he was getting shots up on his own, but he was teaching guys footwork. You hear that old T Mac Kobe
Yeah.
story. Kobe says, I beat you 11-4. Says, we weren't even keeping score. Nobody knows that even existed, but they're talking about it. So when it comes to Dan, Dan knows a lot about Madden.
Hmm.
Dan is getting older.
Yeah.
Dan has some struggles against certain players that he feels that maybe I would fare better against.
Yes. Like who?
So Dan, I
Bomber?
can't think of any that come to mind. I can't think of any that come to mind. We haven't named too many guys, so I'm a little bit foggy right now. It's been a long
Okay. I
day,
would think it'd be Bomber.
but but it's somebody. It's a few maybe. Who knows? But he figures that maybe I would fare better against him if we were to meet up rather than him. And so Dan is a giver. You'll see in the chat, if you ask, he'll tell. He's never been one to divulge anything unless it's real personal and close to the chest. So if he can't get the job done, he just wants somebody else to possibly step up because he's kind of sick of what he's seen.
So, what is Dan gaining from you? You're saying that Dan's gaining somebody who can beat the guy he can't beat. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if that's the case. I think that Dan gains a leg up in the chat when he goes at it with certain guys. Again, I can't think of any names that come to mind right now, but when he's going at it with certain big dogs in the chat and they're trading blow for blow, and then maybe they'll say, "Well, you're 0-2 against me at this point," Big Dan. Then Dan might be able to say, "Well, actually, I might be 1-2 because maybe somebody that he trained is the one that got the job done." And where we come from, it's a culture, it's a culture thing. We One is all is one. If I win, he wins, vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of lame, but that's cool. Um, thinking about you've had some allegations against you in the past.
Yeah,
Tons of allegations, actually, to be frank with you. Um,
yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you, man.
Hmm.
Did you tank?
Shoot straight. Never. This is the thing. Now let me just start. You can't start smiling at me because then guys, they're gonna start breaking me down. They're gonna start
We
using
got the
facial
body
features.
language expert we
They're gonna
hired off of Fiverr, man.
So look at this. Still, see how still this is?
Yeah.
Not shaking at all. I'm not shaking at all. So let me just say this.
Okay.
Next to you,
Yeah.
what name typically comes up the most in chats from various accounts? I might be biased, but
I would say here's
Who
the
would you
top
say?
three. These are the top three that come up, in my opinion. Matt,
Mhm.
QP, and Dan.
That'd be fair, and I would say probably the same. I would put myself above those guys as far as just various topics that
Yeah,
come up and I get brought up into.
yeah.
They're kind of stuck in the same similar lane of things. You know, it's not this mink robe. It's not this watch. I don't know why they're always talking about me. They're always worried about me. It's not the cashmere. It's not the Givenchy cologne I have on my neck
Okay.
right
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna talk about that too.
I know Slice probably will one up me now that he knows that I have Givenchy on. He's gonna
Yeah,
have something
we're
on
gonna talk
me.
about
But
Slice.
back to the tanking. This is the thing. I have had, and you'll say it. Everybody, just if you've been in the SML, you'll know. I've had set feet lead for damn near. It feels like all of my career at this point. I
Yeah, yeah,
had,
it's impressive.
uh, Herbert with the Lions. He got it. He
Yep.
eventually got it when he got a superstar before the blip. Screw you, Dan. Then obviously I went to the Chargers multiple seasons. I had him. Patrick Mahomes, I had him. I'm used to set feet lead. I traded set feet lead because I didn't want the contract issue. I don't like Patrick Mahomes throwing release. All my reasons. I just won 8 games with him for crying out loud. The season before
Mhm.
that, no forced losses, or maybe one. Um, so I trade for a new quarterback. This quarterback, he has a 92 throw power. He's a little bit faster, so I want to try new things with my plays.
Mhm.
Different various things
Mhm.
for different reasons, injury, suspension, getting popped, in the training room, doing whatever he shouldn't be doing. He went
Yeah.
down 10 games, 10 out of 17 games. That's my quarterback to start this new era of the Chiefs. He's
Yeah.
down. He's down and out for 10 games. That's more than half of the season. Zach Redmond, get to know the name. He's my
Yeah.
running back. He's my offense. There's a reason I'm bottom four in passing every single season because we hand the ball to Zach Redmond.
Yeah.
Zach Redmond gets the job done.
Okay.
Injured for 7 games.
Okay.
That's 17 games now that we have between two of my big players. Maybe they're in the same game that they're both hurt. Maybe not. It's not my point to add it up. There's one thing. It was about 115 degrees here in March. It was really hot. My Edison bill, it got to about $700. I needed to get away with my son and go to Big Bear. Needed to get into some cooler temperature. I needed to relax, take a day off, take a weekend off for Big Daddy, be able to afford things like this. So what do? I go away for a weekend. There's 3 or 4 forced losses right there. You following along now, Chief?
I'm
Or you
following.
just wanted me to continue? All right. So, not to mention, you wouldn't know what this feels like, but when you have losing records,
Never had it.
Madden starts giving you the worst animations possible.
Never had
You
that happen.
start being the guy I know. So you wouldn't be able to relate to this.
Okay.
But other guys that are yapping and flapping their gums about the big dog, they should know better. They're the guys fumbling on kickoffs like I am. They're the guys giving up 80-yard touchdown runs to meets with 1 second to go in half when you're in prevent defense. That should never happen. But Madden allows that to happen when you're losing. I play Raider fan. 4th and 1, 4th and 3. I need 3 yards to convert. I throw a little zig route. I possession catch it. What does he do? He rolls behind the first down that I initially had. It's turnover on downs, game over. I play bomber. We don't go to overtime because what does he do? He runs his goal line famous motion play that he runs every single game. So, you still following along, Chief?
I'm following. I'm listening.
All right, I'm losing games by close one score games 8 different times. How many different things do I got to lay out to you to speak of a struggling season? When you're down and out, sometimes you're down and out, and there seems to be no hope at all, like Michael Jackson says
Yeah.
in his famous song. That was the case for us. So what do? We lick our wounds. We talk to Master Dan, the guy that hasn't quite climbed the mountaintop, but he's seen it. He's seen what it's like up there,
Yeah.
this cycle. He knows what I could do if I could just take his skills. He tells me what I need to focus on. I take it in for once. Instead of pride, pride comes before the fall.
Yep.
And man, I've fallen 7 times. But guess what? I've gotten up 8. So
That's
what do you
good.
think I did? I got up the 8th time right now. Talked to Dan. Dan got my mind straight. I went on a little sabbatical. Didn't watch any SML playoffs. Didn't watch the Super Bowl. Focused on me. Focused on the Chiefs. Focused on the 53 men in that locker room. We hit the draft, we do our thing, and you know what else I get? The fourth place or third place schedule this season. And guess what, bub? That matters. Sorry to go on this rant, but I've led you down many different paths. It's up to you to take that one. If you want to take the silly tanking one, when you know how I get when I lose, when you know the slurs that can come out of my mouth when I lose, public or private, there's no laughing matter. There's no laughing matter.
It's
You think
not.
I'm gonna go out there and lose 13 fucking games on purpose? You bet your sweet ass I would never do that. Ever. I do not like losing.
All right, here's the deal. I'll say
Why
this.
would I do that?
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Before this show, your stomach is showing. I don't know if that's what you wanted, but I see your belly button hard.
Don't even look at it. Look down further.
Before the show, I believed you tanked. After that, I don't believe you tanked anymore. Now, you're
You know,
also a master liar and manipulator. So,
there's no story. There's no folk tale here. I just shot it to you straight.
you're good, man. You're good. You should be in sales. So
What I've been told.
either way, that's a compelling story. And one thing I've been impressed is you haven't gotten rattled in chat about this, seemingly. Like, there's a lot of guys who would be very offended or butthurt or triggered that these allegations are coming at them, and they would be like, "Oh, shut up, we got to stop." And you just haven't been. Why?
Typically, that's what guilty people do, don't they?
Yeah.
If I get caught cheating, you know what I don't do? I don't say, hey, baby, you got me and I'm sorry. I get mad. Some might even say I get aggressive, but I don't. And so, you know, I don't, threw me off. Sorry, I put it just, uh, so I don't get upset. I don't get discomplaced in the chat when people start talking because same reason you see me in those yellow Crocs. I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin.
I'll say
I
this.
know the type of dong I have.
One thing. One thing you've done whenever you're actually guilty, when I DM you about suspension, you get very irritable and kind of like passive aggressive and kind of
Yeah,
mean to me. You haven't
yeah.
been in chat, so I tend to believe you. I think you actually have valid points here, and I respect that. Um,
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we had this.
Couple more questions here. Three more questions.
Okay.
We're at 17 minutes already,
All
by
right.
the way.
I rambled.
It's good
Just
stuff.
needed the truth to be out there, though.
This is good. It's therapeutic. Um,
Yeah.
is Dan gonna win a somebody this cycle?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, he is.
He's gonna pass you
Summertime.
and Bomber.
Huh?
He's gonna pass you,
Yeah.
Bomber, and maybe me in the Super Bowl.
There's a chance even that maybe Bomber or myself take each other out first before he has to. Maybe he matches up with maybe Raider fan is on the other side who he doesn't play well, and he'll play Tug who he plays well, Meets who he plays well, and then maybe all it takes is one. Uh, Another thing is, and this is a notorious thing. I mean, Stavo is a two-time champ for crying out loud at this
Yeah.
point because there's
Yeah.
such thing called summertime. Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
The good guys, they win the Simbardis when it's peak time. Granted, I've grabbed a couple cheap ones in the summertime, but that's how it is. And I think Dan will get a cheap one in the summertime. Everybody's kind of relaxing a little bit more. They're a little bit over it. You see guys already talking about who their next team is going to be. I'm just getting started. Dan, he's just getting started. So that's what I'll say.
Did it pain you? Okay. But one last question about your retirement beforehand. I genuinely believe this. I believe, and I think you kind of made a joke about it, but I think you retired partially a couple games early because you didn't want to lose to me and that'd be your last game. Is that true?
Okay, so this is the truth about it. I do make that joke and I put it out there because I know how your ego is. I wanted to stroke it when I put
Yes.
that out there.
Yes.
But the truth is I was already out the door. I was ready to leave at that time. I needed to focus on my own personal life, and I was putting way too much into Madden.
Yep.
And I needed at that time I did see that I was going to be playing you soon. And by the way, I was like 7-2. I hate when people try to act like I left at like 0-4, 1-6. I was like 7-2 or something
Yeah.
like that. I didn't leave right away. I left mid-season. Uh, I did see you coming up, and I knew that if we actually did play and then I left, it really would look like I left on a sour note because I lost to you. And at the time, that was what we talked about in the time of that chat. It was pretty toxic at the time
Me and you
back in those
specifically.
days.
We
Yeah,
we
specifically me and you. Yeah, we had reached our boiling point of
yeah.
a rivalry.
Yeah.
And so it would have looked that way. And I did not want to leave because I genuinely didn't leave at that time because I did not like the SML or because I didn't want to be in the SML anymore because I was over it. None of those reasons. I actually left literally because I just needed to start making more money. And
Mhm.
that was genuinely the only reason. And so had I left after we played and say you beat me at that time, it would have looked that way, especially with the way our relationship was in the moment in main chat. In the private DMs, we were always pretty cool, but in the main
Yeah.
chat, we would let some things go overboard.
Yeah.
Myself, mainly. So I didn't want it to look that way. And that's why I put that in the chat for jokes, because at the end of the day, I like to get a laugh or two. But also because I didn't want people to really genuinely believe I left because I was mad you beat me or something.
Yeah. That's fair. Um, does it pain you since you retired to see my success?
No, it made me realize how valuable I am to the SML because I don't think you recall, but before I left, you weren't a Simbardi champ yet in the cycle, or you maybe had just won
I
your
had just
first one.
won one. Like I beat you that
Your first
playoff,
one.
and then I beat
Yes.
Stavo, and then you retired that next season.
Okay. And then you ran off like three straight or something.
Something crazy,
Because
yeah, something like that.
Gutta would inform me. Gutta would inform me, and I was like, oh man. And then, fast forward to then it translated because I came back and there was a lot of new faces that I had not seen yet or newer guys when I was there, so I didn't get to know them. They were more of staples and integral parts of the league, and I saw how they worshipped you, and they literally like thought you are the second coming, and that you might as well just take a loss when you play Prime. And that's not the league I came from. And obviously, the way we used to go at it, I was like, what is going on here? So I realized it made me realize that I was kind of I was your joker. Everybody talks about you and Dan and all this shit. But at the end of the day, when you need to be really challenged, it's me. When I'm in my zone, when I'm at my best, I play you better than Dan will ever.
Yeah, I agree with
And that's
that.
just okay.
Actually, that's the truth.
But
100%
he
the truth.
plays a lot more consistent,
He
so
play. He's more
that's what I hate.
he's more
He's way more
consistent.
consistent. Yeah.
He's
So,
more consistent.
but no, I
Um,
was happy for you. I mean, I don't. I'm not happy that you ran all those things because now your clock is ticking a lot faster because now you have no. You don't even. You're at 30 already. It's like, come on.
yeah,
So I'm a little upset at your success.
yeah. We'll figure that out at some point, but today's not
Yeah.
that day. Today's not that day.
Yeah.
Um, so if you final question here, are you going to win a Super Bowl this cycle?
In my heart, no, I am not going to. I'm not. I'm genuinely. I don't have the stick skills. I do believe all that time. I'm a guy. I'm a rhythm guy in everything. The way I golf, the way I play basketball, the way I get intimate in bed. You got to be in a rhythm.
Yeah,
If you're out of the game for a while, you're going to come up a little rusty. So I was out of the game. People don't realize I left in February and I didn't come back until this year, stay in season 2. So it was a whole lot of time off where I didn't touch the video game because I have no reason to get mad at if I'm not in the SML. So no, I don't believe I'm going to win a Simbardi this year in my heart, only because I don't believe I'm good enough. I believe I am behind the 8 ball. I believe my stick skills have regressed in every way.
is that
And
weird?
so
Is that like a weird feeling? Because I feel like if I took
yeah,
off, if I retired, I feel like I'd want to come back, and that's why I haven't retired because I know that I'm too obsessive. And if I came back and I wasn't as good, I feel like I would be like angry.
it was a tough pill to swallow. But I already was when I was good and I was losing, I was angry. So I wasn't gonna come back and repeat some of the same. And that sounds silly to people, but I genuinely hate losing. So when I came back, I didn't want to repeat the same shit I was already doing in the previous times when I would kind of be annoyed with the SML when I was losing. Because when I lose, it was a hot topic back in the day, and not as much now because I lose a lot more now. But yeah, it's not easy. It was hard. It was hard. It's a tough pill to swallow that I'm not as good as I used to be, and people think it's a joke or an act but it really does bother me that I am not the 14-3 guy, that I'm not the cream of the crop, that I of course that's all I've
Yeah.
known when that's what I'm used to. Why would I want to be some middle of the pack?
Yeah, it's interesting. That would be a tough thing to wrestle with a little bit. I guess I forgot to ask you this question. Slice feels like a knockoff version of you, like a Wix version of QP. He tries
Mhm.
to have, and I don't use this word because I'm not 12 like Damon. I have a mortgage, I have a family. Aura, um, he has no aura like you do. What's your thoughts on Slice? Am I being too critical?
Slice is a he's interesting. I don't think you're being too critical on him. I think that he is cool. I think he is.
Okay.
And I think he knows he's cool, and that's the thing. So when you know you're cool, sometimes it's hard to navigate the waters when you know you're cool. And the thing that about Slice is he always seems to chime in when me and you are talking, and we're having our little bromance, and we're having a joke about colognes, and he'll hop in there, and oh, that's actually a really good one, but let me recommend, you know, Paco Rabanne, $1 Million Man, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all jokes. It's all love with I'm just calling him Stavo Slice. But yeah, I think that he's a little too cool for school.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I wear Levi blue jeans, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just the truth of it. I'm not cool.
yeah.
Um,
He's probably a Lululemon guy.
probably. Mike's yours, Q. We're at 26 minutes. I really don't want to go much longer. Most people's attention spans won't last this long anyway.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, just I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come on. As you've seen in the chat, it's every day damn near that we talk about the same thing over and over and over. And I have no problems continuing to talk about it because I know who I am. I know what I did. I tried to give it my all. I came up the door. It happens. And I came back rejuvenated. And I'm excited that I'm winning again, and nothing feels better than winning. And I'll just leave you guys with that.
There you guys go. That is SML legend QP, my rival, but more than anything, my brother, SML legend. I'm sure we will meet in a Super Bowl soon. Thanks for coming on,
I
SML.
hope.
Sit down. SML, we are out for now.